As you already saw in the previous lecture, an event object can be passed to the callback function. So in this lecture, we will look at what are the different kinds of event objects and what properties do they contain. The event object contains these properties. Most of them are straightforward. As an exercise, you can print these properties on the console to get a hang of them. One of the most important properties is the target property, which returns the HTML element that triggered this event. Let's log the event.target object on the console. And reload the page. And as you can see, the anchor element is printed on the console. By the way, what do you think would this parameter refer to here? I mean inside the event handler function. Well, that also refers to the same object, alright? Because it is as if that object is invoking the event handler function. I suggest that if you want to get to the object that triggered the function, go with event.target property to be safe, unless you gain a little more expertise with JavaScript. As you have already seen, the event object also has these methods, and we have seen a couple of them in action. Apart from the properties that I already showed you, the event object also contains event-specific properties, but that depends on the type of event. So let's see what type of events are generated. Let's start with the events generated by the mouse. You can find these events by searching online. So I will quickly browse through the main events which are commonly used. The most important event generated by the mouse is the click event, which you have already seen. Then the context menu event is generated when the user right clicks on an element to open the context menu. You can go over these list of events on W3 Schools or search online. Now think about this. When a mouse click happens, what kind of information would you like to know about that event? Well, we may want to know which mouse button was pressed, or whether the Alt or Control key was pressed along with it. Or when the mouse was clicked, what were the X and Y position of the pointer on the screen, right? So all this information is available with the event object in case the event is a mouse event. And this information is available through these properties. Let me just log the event object itself. And let's reload the page now. Click on the link. And here you can see the event object with all the values set. Let's get to the keyboard events. There are 3 keyboard events shown here: key down, key press, and key up events. Basically, when you press any key in the keyboard, a key down event is fired. And when the key is released, then a key up event is fired. Now, what is this key press? Isn't it same as key down? Well, not quite. Key up and key down events are associated with pushing or releasing the physical keys on the keyboard. The key press event, on the other hand, denotes that a character has been typed. So when a key is pressed, a key down event is fired. Then right after that, if the key pressed represents a character, then a key press event is fired. And if you keep the key pressed, then this event keeps getting fired, just like if you keep the key pressed, the character keeps getting typed. And finally, when you release the key, a key up event gets fired. This means that if we press a control key or an alt key or shift key, a key press event will not be fired, although a key down event gets fired always when a key is pressed. Make sure that you try the exercises to understand the difference if it is still not clear. Now, what kind of information would one need in the event object associated with a keyboard event? Well, it is quite natural to know which key was pressed. So most properties help us know that. The key code and char code look kind of similar, but their difference will be obvious in case you are using a non-standard keyboard. For example, one meant for Indian languages or Chinese or Japanese language. If you want to look for which character is pressed, you should look at the char code. I should point out that in the latest DOM3 event specifications, the key press event has been deprecated and it has been replaced with a new event named text input. But support for this is not yet available consistently in all browsers, so the key press event should be used till then. Then there are other events like drag events, which get triggered when some object is dragged or dropped in an application. For example, if you want to drag an item and drop it into your shopping cart, that item should get added to your cart. We can implement that kind of functionality with such events. We have some clipboard events which get triggered when we copy, cut, or paste items in an application. And there are many others like media events, form events, and other object events, but I don't see a point trying to remember them right away. You should be able to search the right events when you need them. The important thing is that you should know well about how events work and how to handle them in JavaScript.